summer was captaining a stern wheel-driven cruise ship. On this particular trip, we were loaded up with a band, dinner, a giant wedding cake, one groom, one bride, 400 guests, a bunch of caterers, and my crew of 5. I was particularly excited about this charter because I love wedding cake. And as captain, I was certain I could score a big piece. As we headed upstream along the heavily wooded state park section of the river, I received a VHF warning about a tornado heading east towards Minneapolis and St. Paul. On the intercom, I called my crew chief, who was 2 decks below managing a very busy bar. I could hear the band in the background blaring "Rolling on the River" for what must have been the 100th time this summer. "Sean, I need you in the pilot house right now." Sean was a sincere, fairly innocent, 21-year-old college senior from Minnesota who had been my crew chief for 3 summers. It seemed I just turned off the intercom when, bingo, there he was, breathing heavily but standing proudly in his white shirt with his 2 gold epaulets. "Hey, Cap, what's up?" "Tornado coming very soon, Chief. I'm going to take all 135 feet of this floating wedding cake. We're going to drive her into the trees. Then we're going to hold." You see how I'm talking like red now, 3 years later? This is 3 years later. I'm turning into red. I'm going to drive her into the trees, and then we're going to, by the way, driving her into the trees, 2 things. When we performed weddings, one side of the river was Dakota County, and the other one was, can't remember county, but 2 sides. And so we had to actually touch one county. So we would tie off, but we weren't at the point where we were going to do that yet. We were still cruising up the river. So I want you to get another crew member on so I was going to drive her into the trees because of the tornado, but you can drive her into the trees anyway because she's flat bottom. I want you to get another crewman on the winch. Drop the swing stage, which is what I showed you there, over the bow, and when the bow hits the beach, grab your heaviest anchor line, jump ashore off the stage, and tie it to the biggest tree that you can find. Then I want you to have the crew close all the windows on the main deck. And do it subtly, Sean. I don't want the guests to know about the tornado until they have to. Sean was a little known to panic. I don't want panic, Sean. If it's going to hit us for sure, I'll announce over the PA for everyone to move to the main deck, and then you and the whole crew will get every single person to do so. Just say captain's orders if they ask why. Don't say tornado. I don't want panicked people jumping into the river and running into the woods. Sean took in all the information with utter concern, his eyes darting from the sky in the west back and forth. "And Chief," I added, "when you're done with tying off, come back to the pilot house." So off he went. Even though she's 135 feet long, this stern wheeler was flat-bottomed and drew only 2 feet of water, making it a beachable ship. All went well, and Sean dutifully returned to the pilot house. "Put on a life jacket," I said as he entered. "It's headed this way." Got reports that giant elms to the west of Minneapolis have been yanked from their roots, 6-foot pieces of the sidewalk still attached to them. Sean sat in the corner of the pilot house, stared at the sky, hands folded very tightly in his lap. And he slowly turned as white as a Minnesotan in January. I was talking to police, Coast Guard, and tow pilots as the tornado approached. My veteran towboat pilot friend, Big Red, captain of the massively powered Mike Harris, was on the radio, as usual, following everything. "Better get them 2 folks married right quick there, Might be a short marriage. Maybe even shorter than some of mine. That way, at least the 2 of them get to heaven together, married and legal and all." Sean listened to all this very carefully. Then he stood up and he walked back and forth, faster and faster in the pilot house, looking skyward from side to side. Finally, he turned to me, his white face seemingly sprouting from the bulky bright orange life jacket. Cap, please, I'm really scared. Do I have to stay up here? Just then the report came in. The tornado had veered north after hitting South Minneapolis and was tracking away from the Mississippi. I watched the color return to Sean's face. Chief, I said, new assignment for you. Go to the main deck and steal me a giant piece of that wedding cake. My honor, Cap, he said, already headed out the door. And Sean, take off that life jacket. You're scarcely on it. So that was about the end of my river experience, and I initiated my own departure. And decided to come back east. I was also delivering boats, and I had a boat delivery from Rhode Island down to St. Thomas, and right before I left, I needed to gather crew. Why not ask Big Red, right? Although there was one problem. Red had never